Hi, it's Ryan Moody here, helping you to fish smarter, not harder. This week I'm back down in Townsville at the Doghouse. My old mate Dave Killerley. Dave's been making custom lures and barrel lures for over 30 years. So this week we've popped in and we're going to have a chat about how you go about designing a different lure for different species even. So Dave, what are some of the major things that you take into account when it comes to designing a lure for a specific species, more or less?
Generally speaking, I find someone who's looking for something specific in a lure. Like when my first lures ever made were the 4-inch killer lures we've made, and I used them for fishing over the end of the breakwater in the shallow water. So I designed the lure specifically to do that. Like it ran at a set depth, it worked its way around the rocks, you could walk it through the rocks, all that sort of stuff. So basically that's what I look for. Just recently we've had you come to us and say, you know, I want a lure to do this in the dirty water lines, and we came up with that 100 Gutter Master.
Yep, which is going very, very well, mind you.
And we got that at the right depth and all that. And now we've done that 150, which the feedback's pretty good so far.
And it is a cracker. It is right where I want it. It's the right depth. Yeah, looking forward to the coming season to put it into practice a bit more.
Well, that's predominantly what I do, right? You find someone who's got a specific task they want. They're fishing for they're fishing specifically for, or should I say, in a specific manner. And I try to get the lure to do what they want it to do. To me, it's more about the action and getting the lure in the right place than it is about, you know, being a cod lure or a barrel lure or a jack lure or anything like that. You got to get it in the right place. You know, like the blokes who originally started the cod movement down south, they use big wide bibs. The lures get down really deep, but they got a big wide action. So now it's folklore that's the only action that'll catch
a cod.
A cod, yeah. And the reason it's like that is because the lures, they were trying to get the depth out of them.
Yeah.
And they just kicked. And you know yourself, when the fish are on the job and you've got the lure in the right spot, they'll eat it.
They'll eat it, for sure.
But having said that, some lures they'll eat more readily than others. And I reckon that's got a lot to do with the action.
Yeah. And I've noticed with some of your designs to get more of that roll action, you're leaving more of that belly in the lure and taking the tail out of it.
Yeah, well, that sort of came about years ago, talking to Vic McChrystal. You know, the reason we leave that bit out the back is because the hooks go like that. Like they sit up.
Tuck underneath.
Underneath it.
Yep.
So it sort of keeps them out of the way of the snags.
Snags as well.
But also if a fish hits it, he gets a gob full of, you know, there's not much there for him to get his mouth around. It's easy to get his mouth around, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I do it.
Yep.
And the flat side sort of put off a bit more vibration in the water. Yep. So you take all the good lures, like Millsies, Rapalas, lures that have been around for a long time. They've basically all got the same action.
Yeah.
And it's just that they're different profiles and they run at different depths, all that, you know, and they do different things. They sink, you know, yourself, like when you're fishing for 30s, they're coming up, you use a lure that's up. If they're on the bottom, you use a vibe. And, you know, vibes, in my opinion, are probably they work, but the only reason they work is because they get them in front of the fish.
That's right, in that particular situation, like when they're deep.
Yeah. Whereas it's really hard to do that with a hard body. I mean, years ago we were using sinking lures and getting the same effect, but you know, like the vibe thing went through the roof, and every man and his dog's doing it, and somehow or other it got a reputation. You can't do it with hard bodies, but you can.
You can.
Yeah. The big thing at the moment is shallow runner lures. You know, the bombers have been around for a million years, and people have been catching fish on bombers for a million years. Now suddenly they've realised, well, hang on a minute, you can do that with other lures.
You know? Exactly. Yeah.
And I mean, that's where that GM100 and that new GM150 and all that sort of stuff, we're changing the profiles primarily to imitate the bigger fish.
Fish.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I like. I always found the bombers were really good on small fish. School-sized fish. I never had a lot of luck with them, getting big fish interested in them. Yeah. But then I moved up to a bigger shallow diver.
Yeah.
And same kind of stuff, same kind of roll and everything, same depth. But because I went up to a bigger lure, I started catching a lot bigger fish, and that made me learn more about the bigger fish then in the shallows.
Yeah.
And that's why.
You take at the moment this lure here, that mutt, it's a scaled up version of our 200 mutt.
Yeah,
But that primarily came about from these guys in the territory who are chasing big barras in the mouth of the rivers on the big tides, in the build up to the wet.
yeah,
They're trolling them at 12 mile an hour, and they're real shallow. They want to run at less than a metre of water because they're coming in off the flats and along the edge of the bloody drop-offs, and that's where they're picking up the barras. And,
they've
it's a bigger profile lure.
yeah. They've been slowly getting into the fast trolling market up there, haven't they? They've sort of nutted it out where they can actually troll.
To me, I'm a troller from way back. Like
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the most productive ways to fish, but that's just me.
Yeah. I fish, I troll a lot as well, only in certain situations though.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Queensland has the numbers of fish to actually be able to consistently target them fast trolling in the shallows like they do in the territory. It's okay when you've got multiple numbers of fish up there, but here it's a little bit different, and in harder fished waters we don't seem to be able to do that. I can catch them on faster troll speeds when they're deep, going over an aggregated school, but I've tried the shallow up here and we just don't have the fish numbers. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I'd like to put a bit of time and muck around and have a good look at it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be learned. It's the same in the dams at the moment. Pardon me. The big lures they're using in the dams, they're using those big swim baits in the dams. You seen them?
Yes.
And they run in shallow, and it's the same with these hard bodies. They're running shallow, they run them along the face of the bloody weed banks. And it's just a matter of getting the lure where the fish are.
Sure. So pretty much a lot of it comes down to bibs as well, doesn't it? Like how you build your bibs
like deep diving bib. It's the angle of the bib, it's the size of the bib, the shape of the bib. You take this lure for instance. That bib there, that lure runs at about 3 metres.
Yes.
It's got a fairly tight roll on it. It's got a little bit of tail kick, but not a lot of tail kick, and that's to do with the way the water flows off the front of it and up over here. This one here, that bib angle is obviously different. Different to say, this one would be a better example. No, that's a different angle to that.
Yeah.
Now that lure there runs shallow. Like that'll run a metre or so, and it's got a big tail kick in it, and that's because it's pushing a lot of water off here, and it's pushing it like that. It's flowing off up here, and it just kicks it and gives it a little bit of roll.
And the lure doesn't want to pull down in the water because of that, angle.
It and it's coming up.
Yeah, and that's the things people should take into account no matter what their fishing is. Learn to study the species, learn the areas where they get, and by that you can then buy your lures through the bib sizes.
Yeah, I mean, you walk in, like for the average bloke, like it's all right for blokes like me and you who've been fishing for 100 years, but for the average bloke who's just starting out, it must be so confusing walking into BCF or something like that and just looking at the wall and thinking, oh my God,
where do I start?
And that's where your courses have really come in handy,
Yeah.
is because at least they got somewhere to start then.
Exactly. They got all the good oil straight up.
Yeah.
30 years of shortcuts.
Hard graft.
Yeah.
And there's definitely no substitute for time on the water.
Yeah.
Someone can tell you till the cows come home,
Yeah.
but unless you're on the water and seeing it happen,
Every
no
day.
substitute.
Exactly, mate.
Yeah.
And while we've got you here, Dave, some of your new products. I believe your Dew Dog's going rather well down south on the Mulloway.
Yeah, the Dewey, it's actually not a new lure. It's one we used to do years ago.
Okay.
We sort of reintroduced it.
Oh, right.
That lure was originally designed, again, a bloke who knew what he was doing and knew what he wanted, Terry Dunphy from Shimano fame. He was a good mate of mine, he's a good mate of mine, and he wanted a lure to do a specific job, and we worked together and came up with that. And it's accounted for some huge duties.
And it's going great guns.
Yeah, well, we can't supply the demand at the moment.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. And then, like you say, you and Terry worked that out, and now that's part of your range because you know it's successful.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it's the same with the GM 100s and 150s. I mean, we've done a fair bit of work with you over
Yeah.
a period to get them to where they need to be, and
And they're exactly where they need to be, mate.
Yeah.
In the fish's mouths.
Yeah, well, that's true. Eh?
Yeah.
Down this right.
That's it,
the
mate.
place to be. I mean, that's really what you gotta get across to the people is you got to match the hatch.
Yeah.
You know? And like nowadays, they're fishing with bloody 80-pound braid. And back in our day, we were fishing with pre-test 6 kilo. 10 kilo, you're like fishing with rope, eh?
Yeah, yeah. And we were using mono even
Yeah.
back in the early days. No such thing as braid back then, was there?
And it was all pre-test. Like it was the 4 pound club that just had their comp up there. Yeah, most of those blokes fish a 20-pound line.
Yeah.
You know, they might call it 4 pound and break it 20. You know? And like you put that, I remember one weekend we went fishing up north here, and we used to do what I think they call it teabagging these days, but we used to back the boat up onto the snags and drop the lures down in the snags and just jig them.
Yep.
And I went through 40 lures one weekend.
Yeah.
This is all right for me.
It's all right for you. You know the bloke who makes them.
Yeah, but you get someone who's paying for it, they can't afford to do that. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you know, all our lures have got good hooks, they got good rings, you know.
Yeah.
Stuff that you're pretty confident is going to stay together. You don't have to buy it and then spend another $10 or $12 buying
Hooks
good
and split rings and all that kind of thing. Yeah. Well, thanks for having a chat, Dave. We'll pop back down in another 2 or 3 months and have another yarn about lure manufacturing and all those kind of things that make lures tick. And basically, it all comes down to if you go into the tackle shop, just because all the lures on the wall might say they're a barra lure, that's not the important thing. It's all about where that lure is designed to be for those fish. That's what you have to take into account. So if you like this little tip and you'd like to see more, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and if you only want some special tips that I send out by email only, head on over to our website www.ryanmoodyfishing.com and sign up to join our free fishing community. Get into the great outdoors, keep fishing smarter, and I'll see you next time.